Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Urban Renal Talk. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight, we got a really special show for you. But before we get to our guest, I'd like to ask our audience to please say a prayer for my partner, Tamika Moore, who is still on bed rest. Please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. We miss her every week on the broadcast, and it's not the same without her. So please keep her in your prayers. Tonight, we have a really good show. I mean, we got a gentleman here that's um, two-time kidney transplant recipient, award-winning chef, TV producer, actor, um, host of many cooking competitions throughout Michigan, cook talk show, uh, appears on many boards. This guy's amazing. Without any further ado, I'd like to bring him on, Chef Oliver Hale.
Hello, everyone,
How
and
you
thank you,
doing,
Steve. I am
How's
very,
you doing?
very excited about being here. You built the old guy up there for a little bit, but like I say, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to share my knowledge with those fellow colleagues and people out in the transplant world, and especially on dialysis. I want to let them know that I pray for them. I've been there, done that, and I just want to see them one day to be able to get off that machine. But while you're on that machine, we're here to help you to live a good, happy life and healthy life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Chef, before we get started with the interview, I noticed, um, I've noticed you on Facebook, but you was so quiet, and I'm sure a lot of people witnessed that as well. I see you you would like a certain post that you would see, but I never actually heard from you. It was almost like you were silent. I mean, was that intentional, or you're just a quiet person?
You know what? People say that I am quiet. I'm not one of them Facebook person that love to get on Facebook every day and talk. I love comments on stuff, and when I run across your show, I try to make it a point to see it and watch it and comment when I can. But there's sometime I have like board meetings or either a special event on your Thursday night, and that I can't make it. But then also Sunday is very hard because I'm a church going guy, and if I'm not church going, I'm in transit traveling somewhere. So it's not because of you or that I'm quiet, but also when I do see something I want to comment on, I will.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, it's one thing that's amazing about you that I guess people don't know is that you're a two-time transplant recipient, and also your first transplant you had for 23 years, the second one 6 years. So actually, that's a total of 29 years living with a transplant organ.
Yeah. That's just 29 years of living with a transplant organ. I've been in the kidney world since 1983 when I first was diagnosed with kidney failure. I went on dialysis. A year and a half later, I got a transplant, and I took the ball and ran with it for 23 years, living my life to the fullest. But when it rejected, that's one thing the doctor told me in January of 1985. He said, "Remember, this is not a cure. This is a treatment. This is the best treatment that is known that we can have. So it may reject one day." Well, 23 years later, it did reject and went back on dialysis. I kept my life going. I continued. I was doing a cooking show at the time here in Michigan that ran for 11 years. I did 315 shows. And the last 2 years of that, me shooting the show, that's when I was on dialysis. I can tell by watching the show I wasn't up to par, and I wound up, canceling the show after the 11th season. So, I try to live a healthy and full life, but and doing well. Doing so, like I say, it's been since 1983 that I've been in the old kidney world.
Wow. Wow. Chef, so you've been doing this since 1983. Tell the audience, what was it like when you first started? How did you get diagnosed, and what was the treatment like back then compared to what it's like today?
Well, it was much different back then. First of all, I urge in and everybody to keep your physical and your checkup. You always get a checkup because I had a checkup to about up to about 1980. Going to the doctor regularly, and I was playing tennis. I was up and coming tennis player, and in July of 1983, I played in a United States Tennis Association sinking 5-state tournament, and we won that tournament in doubles. And exactly 2 weeks from the day I won that tournament, I was back. I was in the hospital on my back with kidney failure. I didn't know it, but I had high blood pressure. Here's a guy who's running up and down the court 4 and 5 hours a day, and then 4, 6 days a week playing tennis. I thought everything was hunky dory, but it wasn't. And so I started then. But when we was on dialysis then, we didn't have the units like they have now. We only had 2 TVs, one at both ends of the unit, and you had to watch whatever those 2 TVs was on. And we were more personal then, because since you only had 2 TVs, you talked a lot. You talked with the guy who was next to you. You talked to the person across the floor from you, but the communication was much different. As far as the dialysis unit, it was very scary because back then you can tell that some of the people that were running your treatment really wasn't that high qualified people to be doing what they doing. I mean, it's much more of a health qualification now than what I seen then. So I was on the dialysis a year and a half, got a transplant. When I came back on it the second time in December of 2007, it was a rude awakening because so much have changed. Your chairs, like you have blankets, you have heated chairs, you have vibrating chairs, it was so many different rules now than it was back then. And see, with me traveling across the United States, I'm always checking out the units, what goes on in the units, how they getting well taken care of. I mean, I have seen so many different rule changes. Like I was in a unit in Illinois where they had a stack of menus that when you come in, you pick up a menu and you order lunch. I mean, order lunch. How many units where people in Dallas can order lunch?
Wow.
You don't see that. You don't see that. And they would, around 12 o'clock, these piece of doohickeys and, Joe Blow's restaurant, they would come in there with food where people actually order food and ate while they was on the machine. Now, I know there's a lot of places don't even allow you to have food in the unit because of the blood and all the blood running around. But it was a surprise. I was in a unit somewhere in Texas where I was dialyzing because I had to do a speech down in Dallas, not Dallas, but in Texas. And they ordered food for you. We had pizza and chicken one evening when I was on dialysis. I didn't know that they serve you food. So much has changed across the United States. And that's one thing I was pushing for when I became one of the members of the United Network for Organ Sharing. I was on their board, was about coming up with a uniform guideline for techs and uniform guideline for unit. Some units let you drink water while you're on the machine. Some units let you drink ice, take ice while you're on the machine. There's a lot of them that won't even let you touch neither one of them while you're on the machine. You're supposed to be in there getting the fluid taken off your body. And really, I don't understand how can somebody come in with a quart and a half of drink or juice sitting there on the machine, and here they're trying to get the fluid off your body. So so much have changed, and there's still some need to be changed even more. And so when I leave a unit, I write a letter back and I ask questions. Why is your unit allowing this? And really, I do get response, and they are trying to change it.
Who do you write those letters to? Who are they addressed to?
I addressed them to the unit manager, the manager or the head nurse or the head person in charge of the unit. Because I always get cards when I'm at a unit. I always get a dietitian, I get the social worker, and I get the head person at the unit who invites me to these. Most a lot of time it's a dietitian who invite me to come. But I get on their cards, so when I respond on negative things and see what they can do about it. But you know, it's funny. If I'm in the area of that unit, I would go back by there and check that out and see if they did anything. And probably 95% of the time, they do make the adjustment.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm being an advocate on being there, but also I want to see things change. Because, like I say, I've been everywhere from San Francisco to Boston to Maine, down to Orlando, Austin, and just everything in between over the last 15 years doing the cooking demos. And I have seen a lot of units that are nice. I was at a unit over in Michigan where they had 52 chairs in a unit. Now, you know units, 52 chairs in a unit is a lot of people. And that door was just revolving with people coming in different times running. And it was nerve-wracking, but also frightening.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I seen that 52 chair. I actually worked in a 50 chair unit in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Wow.
So I know exactly, the operations, people are coming and going. It's just nonstop. You can have one section, people be on another section, people coming off. So I think that could be a little dangerous, those type of units being that large.
That is kind of dangerous, but also it's heartwarming to see what's going on. And my education from is I want to go out there and help, so I don't see these people coming on the machine. That's why I try to talk to health organization or health fairs and health summit with people coming through and try to get them to stop and listen to what I have to say or pick up some information about how to stay off of dialysis having kidney failure, those diabetes patients, those lupus patients, and everything. Try to talk to them beforehand, because I'm seeing a change in the last 5 years. I'm seeing these lot of areas just popping up with people on dialysis, and it don't really have to be.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So, Chef, tell us about your participation in transplant games. I found that very, very amazing. And if you can you show some of your medals and trophies that you accumulated?
Well, here's my little show here. This is I have 2 shadow boxes. And those shadow boxes represent over 30, almost 20 something years of transplant game. The transplant game started back in the early 80s by the British. They thought it was a way to bring their patients together as transplant recipients, and they expanded to the whole world, where in 1982, they went to Amsterdam, I think, try to hold a world event. I came in 1987. I went to Innsbruck, Austria. And that was my first year playing in a foreign country as tennis. And at the time I ran track. I was on the 4x100 relay team and playing tennis. That year I didn't win anything, but when we came back to the United States in 1988 in St. Paul, Minneapolis, Minnesota, we held a game. Now at the time, this is a national game in the United States. It only had 82 people from the whole United States. That's when it first got started. Since then, I have made every game I can name them off to you. It started in St. Paul, Minnesota in 88, 90 Indianapolis, 92 Atlanta, 94 LA, 96. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting messed up. 96 Salt Lake City, 98 Columbus, Ohio, 2000 and 2002 Orlando, Florida, 2004. Oh boy. 2004 was Louisville, Kentucky, I think. And then in 2006, we went back to, did we go to, no, we didn't go to Dallas. Well, going and been going every 2 years. We go every 2 years. On the even years, it's held in the United States. On the odd years, it's held in international countries. And like I said, I've been to 7 countries. I've been to Innsbruck, Austria, Singapore, Vancouver, Budapest, Manchester, England, Cardiff, Wales, Sydney, Australia, London, England, London, Ontario, and Nancy, France.
Mm-hmm.
And so over my years, I have won 33 medals, 19 of them are gold, 24, 28 of them are in tennis, 4 is in track and field, and then also I won a bronze medal in fencing. I'm one of the top fencers in the United States for the transplant team. And I got involved, and what this does is promote donation, and the city and the community get involved with this. And like I said, I just came back from Salt Lake City in August, 1st of August. Well, we had over almost 2,000 athletes, ranging from heart, lung, kidney, liver, bone marrow, pancreas, and we had some with cornea transplant. And these athletes come from all parts of the United States. We had someone from, had some people came from Australia who came over. We had people from New Mexico who came up that want to join our U.S. game. And it's a heartwarming thing, but it's just like a regular Olympics. We got all these different teams, different events like track and field, swimming, tennis, bowling, badminton, and on. And we have some certain ceremonies we do. Like I belong to something called the Quarter Century Club. The Quarter Century Club is transplant recipients who have had a transplant 25 years or more. And we have people up to 44, 46 years with a transplant.
Wow.
And the youngest this year was 3 years old. And the youngest person competing this year was 3 years old. And then all the states march in separate, with the host state being last. But the very last thing is the donor families. We had over 700 donor families march in this year. And it's a very emotional moment to see these families with little memorabilia from their loved one that they're carrying, a blanket or a glove or one of their sports shirts or whatever. But it's very emotional, and they get a standing ovation. All 700 are from the time they march into the last person sit down.
Wow. Wow. So, Chef, let me ask you, after 23 years of having a transplant, can you take us back to the day that you found out that it actually rejected and how you was feeling about that?
I was in tears. I was in tears for many reasons. One, I wanted just to last, with I knowing that it couldn't last the rest of my life. It caught me in a bad moment because I was really going good, my height of my career with the TV show, the number of places I was traveling to, the different magazine articles. From 2002 to 2007, I was on a high. I've been in national magazines. In 2004 and 2005, I got voted best chef in Grand Rapids. In 2000, I was alternate to the United States Culinary Art team to Amsterdam. I was in a national book next to Larry Hagman, JR from Dallas, and they were going in alphabetical order. I got voted in 2001 one of the top 50 new chefs coming up in the United States. I had to go to Chicago for a big ceremony for that. So my life was on a roll, and every year I raised the bar on something I was doing. And then bang, boom, I had to come to a stop in 2007. It was happening in May of 2007 when they told me that it was rejected. We had tried everything to stop it, taking more anti-rejection drugs, changing the steroids, changing stuff, but it was rejecting. It happened, it started rejecting, but the doctor told me, Oliver, you're doing very well. What you're doing, you still have urine output, and you're doing very well. So he told me, let us know when you get ready to go on dialysis. I went from July of 07 to December before I started feeling bad. And it was a shock. I was working. I had a real good job as a chef in a restaurant. I was doing different TV spots here and there. So it was the height of a career that had to come to an end for a little while. But my mom I was raised in a very religious family. A lot of things that my mom and dad told me took effect and have taken effect in my life. And I believe in what they told me, and I still abide by them. And when things happen like that, my mom always say one thing: turn it over to God and let Him handle it. That's the only thing you can do. So I prayed about it, but I said I had a positive attitude, though. Mm-hmm. When I went back on the machine, I said, I'm not going to let this stop me. I still travel. I still did. I even still worked out. I was going to the gym on my days off from dialysis, working out, and just keeping myself healthy. So when the transplant do come, I want to be ready. Then still doing a lot of cooking demos. I did a lot of parties. I do a lot of 5 and 7 course parties for high profile people in the Detroit area, and everything from here to Columbus, Ohio. And then so I had a wine grower fly me up to California, Santa Rosa, California, to do a 5-course dinner for 12 people. So I was still doing that. And they set up my dialysis while I was doing that. And it was great. Wow. I had to go to Washington. I had to go to Washington when I was on dialysis to speak for a Senate subcommittee on a health issue about anti-rejection drugs. And they set up my dialysis in Washington, D.C. while I was there. So I kept my life going. It was a change. It was an adjustment. But I know if God willing, I was going to get a new transplant. Mm-hmm. And the day I walked into the unit, I was going to walk in the unit for my treatment. It was January 13th, 2012, Friday the 13th. And I got the call, and I couldn't believe it because I knew it was Friday the 13th, but it happened. And I've been going ever since then, since January 13th, 2012.
So tell us, how did that work out? You said you worked in the unit, so you were just coming in for your ordinary treatment, and were you already hooked up to the machine, or right before you got on, you got the call? Did you have a pager, or did they call the unit?
No, they called me on my phone. They called me on my cell phone. I was, believe it or not, had turned the car off, grabbing my blanket to go into dialysis. The phone ring, and Lord behold, it was a unit. I said, "What are you doing, Oliver?" I said, "Well, I'm getting ready to walk in the unit." They said, "Don't." I said, "Don't." They said, "Yes, we got a kidney." And people been on dialysis for a number of years. I know there's some been on longer. Been on dialysis for that number of years. The first thing that come to you is an emotional relief, knowing that you have got a call to get a transplant. And of course, I broke out in tears. I walked in the unit, and the first thing somebody told me, say, "Where's your blanket?" I said, "I'm not going to need it today." And they made a joke about me that because they know me coming in the unit after 4 years, I always have my blanket to keep warm. And I told them, and we call it decall. All you got to say, "I got decall." And they know what it means.
Wow.
So it was a beautiful moment. Like I say, it was my cell phone.
Right. Wow. So let's talk about some of your awards and things you've been doing outside of dialysis, which I found pretty impressive.
Well, over the years, like I say, I kept myself busy in other areas. Let's stay in the cooking world. Like, I'm gonna show you if I can do this. I'm gonna walk over here and show you. If you can look up on top of that wall there, you see a row of medals. Them rows of medals up there in the plaques are from the TV show. I won 11 awards from doing, no, 9 awards in 11 years on my TV show.
Is that
That was
Chef
very,
Oliver Hale?
yeah, Chef O's Place was a weekly TV show where I come on and do something healthy, but I always did it healthy. And I always brought up my friends on dialysis and my diabetic friends. And they knew that, when I made the food, I made it diabetic, where diabetic person can eat it, but also the mainstream people. When I did the recipe to have it, I tell them, if you're diabetic, don't put this in, put this, this, and this in. And they loved it. I also, like say, do cooking competition. And during my cooking competition, I have won several big award. This, you probably can see it, but this is one of my awards I have won for taking first place in cooking competition around Michigan and nationally. I was over in Richmond, Virginia. Took they call them blind box, just like they do in Chops. I love doing those because one of my jobs I applied for back in 2000, a real fancy fine dining restaurant. They surprised me by, most time I'd do a job, I'd give my resume, say, ooh, what a great resume, blah, blah, blah. Well, that one said, we're going to give you a test. And they went in, it was an Italian restaurant. So they brought out the big guns on me. They gave me a half an hour to come up with a menu for 4 courses for 4 people. The family of the Italian restaurant and the chef had to grade me on what I had to come up with. I had to come up with an appetizer, a pasta dish, a main course, and a salad by what was in that box. And, here it is, I'm in a strange kitchen. And since then, I've been gun ho. Now, I've been invited to 2 national TV shows on television. One of them was, the first one was the Bravo channel, Top Chef. Top Chefs sent me and said, we have heard about you and we've seen some of your videos, blah, blah, blah. We'd like for you to be a contestant on Top Chef. I said, okay. And I said, what do I need to do? Why do I need an audition? They said, you don't have to audition. We know who you are and what you do. So they said, we will send you the application. The application was 26 pages. When my lawyer went through that 26 pages, he said, don't do it. If you are one of those persons who wanted to keep their life private, everything they did was, I hate to tell you that they changed your name. They did a lot of things that we didn't agree on. And I told them, no, I didn't want to do it. My second event was I got a letter from the Food Channel for Chops. And that was one that I'd always dreamed about doing. When I got the letter, it was in 2007. And you know what happened in 2007? I was going through rejection and I just couldn't do it. But there's been other events coming up in my life. I talked about that. I talk about the civic awards I've won. I'm sitting here looking in my office. I have a award that I received from the governor of Michigan. I received awards from the Secretary of State of Michigan. I got even an award from the first George Bush. I was voted as one of the Presidential Volunteer Action Volunteers Award by the nation highest honor by putting in volunteer hours in a year. And I was one of the nominees for it. And they wrote me a letter about that. So I believe in giving back, Steve, because I done had 2 families who have lost loved ones, who I've wrote to, but never heard anything back from them. And what I want to do is show my gratitude is I do things. I love paying it forward. I love helping people. I love helping people that in dire strait or either have problems. And that's why it's my goal to continue working and doing recipes. But up in the horizon, I can let you know and your listeners know for 2020, January 1st, you got to watch the Rose Bowl parade because every year there is a Rose Bowl float. There's a float from the Donate Life Committee that's in the parade. They always win an award. Well, I'm going to be riding on that float in 2020.
Oh, man. Are you serious?
Yeah. Let me, I can show you right now. I even got the application, got the bookwork, I got the paperwork, and there it is right there. What did it say?
Wow.
I
Y'all
already got
see
it
it?
all.
Y'all see it? Chef gonna be in the 220 Rose Bowl Parade float, the
Yeah,
donate life float.
the donut light float. I'll be writing on it,
You heard
and
it
I'm looking.
straight to the chef.
But then there's other thing coming up. Right now, I have a group of people working on for March is National Kidney Month, and April is National Donate Life Month. I'm going to be on one of the major morning shows, one of those 2 months in 2019. I'm going to be on either Today's Show, Good Morning America, or one of those two morning shows doing a cooking thing for organ donation, showing about healthy eating for transplant recipient or kidney patients.
Oh man, that's wonderful, man. Make sure you mention Urban Kidney Alliance.
Yeah. Give you a plug. Well, I tell you what, Steve, since we have a relationship, you'll be in touch with me, and you will see when I do get the letter to announce that, you would know, and that way we can probably come back on and talk about what we're going to do or something, but let it all your listeners see, so it's going to be on television, but anytime I get a chance to be on TV for any kind of thing, nationally and locally, I let everybody know. I announce it. I know I do get some flack from some haters who say, "Why are you always talking about this? Why are you always boasting? Why are you always bragging about what you do?" It's not bragging. It's I want to show people what you can do when you apply yourself.
Oh,
I talk to some young people about what would life have for you. I have something called the ABC of life. A is for attitude. When I was little, my parents always told me, before I leave the house, you have your attitude in check. Because your attitude makes whatever goes in your life well. B, believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself, Steve, because if you don't, who will? So if you don't believe in yourself, your life is not going to believe in yourself. And then I tell the kids, C, compliance. There's rules and there's rules. You have to abide by your parents have rules in the house. And when you go out in the world, they have rules in your life. You apply yourself to rules. Because my mom always told me, when you're out in the public eye, do your best because you never know who's watching. Today, Steve, just today, I don't know if I play pickleball. A lot of people don't know what pickleball is. It's a new and upcoming sport. I'm on a pickleball team. And today I walked into to play pickleball, and they honored me for my out. They found out all the stuff I do and what I'm going through, and found out I was a kidney patient playing pickleball against them and beating them. Well, they honored me with a brand new paddle today, pickleball paddle with my Chef O Cooking in the Ozone logo. Cooking in the Ozone is a new up and coming show that in the future, hopefully it'll be a national show. I've had people from California approach me about it. And I can tell you a little something about the show. It's a show about going to top sports figures' home. Not just football, baseball, all across the board. We did a survey and we sent out letters to 50 top athletes in different categories, everything from sporting to volleyball. We went to surfing. We did anything that's a sporting event and wrote to people. And we got a letter back. We even got a letter back from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. from NASCAR, who wants to come on the show and do a fishing show because he loved to fish. And so we got the response. We got things set up. Now we are just going to we got to finalize a few things. And hopefully by somewhere in 2019, there will be a new sports show about cooking with top athletes.
Wow.
So, but then I have to say the other thing, the TV movie I just shot. There's a young producer named Mo McCoy. Mo McCoy is a very outstanding and go-getter in movie making. He made a horror movie and he made some other movies. And he's in Houston now, but he came to Grand Rapids. And when he came, he got in touch with me and said, "Chef, I got a casting call coming up and I want to cast you for one of the parts." He said, and I said, "What's the part?" He said, "I want you to play a chef." And I said, oh, I can do that. After 42 years of being a chef, I think I can play a chef. And I got the part, I had a few lines. We shot it. And the amazing part about shooting movies, you don't shoot it once, you shoot it from different camera angles. And one day it took it almost 2.5 hours to do 3 camera shots because you keep walking through it. And it was fun. And that movie's going to be out in 2019. I will let you know, and I will put that out when the movie get ready to come out. But God had blessed me a lot, Steve, with honors and surprises because, you know, I try to live a good life. I try to put forth my effort in helping people. I try to think positive, and I just believe in a lot of things. My mom, for the first time in her life, saw me on the 11th of October presenting and receiving an award. And she had never seen me receive anything out of all the medals, all the trophies, all the stuff I have here on my desk in my office. She had never been at an event, and I invited her to this event, and it did me so joy to stand there and talk about her and point to where she was standing to have people recognize her because she is my cellmate. She is my religious advisor, financial advisor, motivator. Anything you can tell me that I do, I always go back to my mom and dad, and she's still alive to be able to see that. So I'm just happy.
Amen. Wow, that's amazing. I wanted to ask you, Chef, do you think if you didn't experience kidney disease that you would still be at the point of where you're at in your life pertaining to your career in cooking?
Yes, because one, my life was going when I had the first the kidney when I had kidney failure back in 1983. I just won that tennis tournament, and I wanted to play ATP tennis so I can get a chance to go to the U.S. Open or something like that. And of course, that came blocked. But somebody told me you take a bad situation and do some good with it, and that was a bad situation. But I can honestly tell you, Steve, I don't know. I still have the same attitude. I still have the same attitude by going forward, putting forth my best effort and doing the right thing. Only God would know, because me moving from the little town from Greenville, Texas to Toledo, Ohio was the first leap of faith to move there. And I moved there in the 70s to get a job. And then moving from Toledo, Ohio to Grand Rapids, Michigan to take a job offering at a golf resort. So those things help too. Just making that leap of faith and then just go with it. Sure, I stumbled a little bit here and there, but my dad always say, just dust yourself, fall down, dust yourself off, and keep going. And but the kidney, I do say I do have a little bit of motivation more because, like I say again, I'm walking around with somebody else's parts in my body, and to be thankful for it, I'm very happy.
Wow, absolutely. So, Chef, for some of our listeners who are watching and who may have just started dialysis or may have kidney disease in one of the, early stages of kidney disease, or even post-transplant, can you just explain to them how important their diet plays in this whole process?
Okay, let's get rid of that word right there. First of all, diet. I tell you, I don't believe in diets. I believe in eating a healthy lifestyle. A healthy lifestyle. If someone tell you to go on a diet, could I use it? The Food and Drug Administration flew me to New York. They had heard about my dissecting food and what I was doing for kidney patients and transplant recipients by showing them how to eat healthy. I just tell them that the word diet is overused, but if you want to do good, eat a healthy lifestyle. There's so many things you have to do. One of them, people, first of all, you got to take control of your life. Take control of your life. Ask questions. Talk to your dietitian. I mean, don't be afraid to ask your dietitian questions. What what can you eat, what can you not eat, and regulate those. The biggest word I use when it comes to eating is moderation. Moderation, Steve. You do everything in moderation. Mm-hmm. Also important in your life, sodium. Sodium. You got to cut out sodium. You got to cut out all the salt, your salty food, a lot of processed food. Sure, you don't have to go to organic or even fresh or fresh frozen. You can buy everything in can and have me come to your home, and I can show you how to make everything work and taste good and will be within the healthy guideline for you. You have to, like I say, just take control of it. And it's very important to eat right and eat healthy while you're on dialysis. I know it's a big change, but do it because your main ultimate goal is get a transplant.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So what is your future plans coming up?
My future plan, there's a big project coming up where some of your viewers may see me in their areas. We did a survey about 5 months ago about me doing cooking demos. There's a lot of places know me. I've did some repeat visit to a lot of dialysis units because they have new people to turn over. But we sent a survey out about who I am and did a little post bio and said what I do and how many places would like for me to come to do cooking demos for dialysis patients, either in the units or like a church or a VHW hall or something where they can all gather and I can talk to them and show them what they need to do, and then hand out some recipes along with my card where anybody, and I want to, let's not end without giving them my email, my Facebook and everything tonight, but you can always contact me and within 24 hours, I will send you back a recipe, Renal recipe that you can use in any category. I don't care if it's pork, beef, chicken, fish, desserts, vegetable, whatever it is, I can send you a nice recipe that will help you by eating and then just keep an ongoing relationship with me. But what we're planning to do, like they would send out their survey, there was 26 cities, and there's some states that have multiple locations in different cities who'd like for me to come to their area and do a cooking demo and talk to them about eating right on dialysis. And we are now up to second base, getting ready to go to third base because we got almost everything put together. Excuse me. And one last thing, we're trying to reach out to anyone, if anyone out there listening, know of a RV rental place, an RV leasing place. We're trying to get that nailed down because that way we can not flying everywhere, so we can pass the savings on to you where we can just get an RV and travel across the United States, stopping in dialysis units in the city, talking to patients, spending one-on-one time. Hey, if you want me to come to your home and cook you a dinner that evening, that's going to be renal friendly. If I'm in your area, we can make that work. So I want to just spread it and people say, are you going to charge a lot? No, I'm giving back to the community. I'm giving back. The main thing I needed was the RV and see, the RV is my travel, my hotel, my own place. I can cook my own food and then also make it easier for me to get to places. Mm-hmm. It's not, I'm not asking for a big tour bus, one of the big 42 footers. All I need is even a van RV, something that's got a bed, kitchen, and something I can work out of and do my homework in. I can set up blog with telling people we're going to be in your area next week. We're going to be in this area this week or whatever. So we can touch with all those thousands and thousands of people out there on dialysis. And mainly the urban communities is my biggest spot I want to hit. I mean, the urban units, because those are I have noticed that's a lot in the last 10 years, that the spike in Afro-American and Hispanic in the urban neighborhoods are the one that's getting more and more in dialysis centers. And I want to help you get out of it or not even get on it. I get calls all the time from people in stage 1, 2, 3 kidney failure who want to continue. I'm working with a guy from the Chicago Bears who was a player it's been now 4 years. And when I first met him, they said he's going to be on dialysis in 6 months. He's going on 4 years now with my help and not being on dialysis.
Wow. Congratulations, man. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, so things are just hopping. Things are in the future coming, but that big thing with the RV, all we have to do is make that final connection with the RV. I'm all set to travel. I've been putting stuff together on a laptop. I'm going to have a different laptop that we're going to be using and keeping up with everything. We're going to have recipes. Because when I first started doing my TV show, before I even started, when I asked to do it, Steve, I wrote one person that I had met before and asked him a question. I don't know, a lot of you probably heard of Emerald Lagasse, Mr. Emerald, Chef Emerald. He had a big TV show. He's the bam man that go bam every time he does them. I wrote him and I asked him a few questions about doing a TV show, and he wrote back and he kept in touch with him. He told me always write him, let him know how to show. And he gave me some advice about doing things. And one of them, he said, never put your recipes online. So, because you ever come out with a cookbook, nobody will buy it because they can go online and get it for free. So now I keep my recipes to myself. But when people write me, I got 2 already this evening I'm sending out that someone wrote me about some healthy snack bars. I did some healthy balls where people can make them, put them in a Ziploc bag, take them with them, keep them cool. They pop them in their mouth, get enough energy to go. They don't need that Red Bull and all that stuff. I give them energy bars how to make. So just people, you'll be looking for me in the coming in 2019 for the going around and doing the cooking demos. It's going to be Chef O. I don't know what I'm going to call the tour, but it's going to be, I'm still going to call it Cooking in the Ozone. That's what we call it, Cooking in the Ozone. O for Oliver.
Right. Man, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Are you going to have any sponsors?
I have some. I can tell you right now, I have some, but there's 2 that I'm working with now. One of them is Walgreens Pharmacy. Walgreens Pharmacy is one place we're looking at because Walgreens has the most place where you can get your pharmaceuticals, your pills and medication refilled, and they are all over. Almost every city in the United States has a Walgreens. I know there's other companies, but some of them going to go so far, and some are not in other states. They are coming on, and then my best and biggest spice that I love using with no sodium is Mrs. Dash Original. It's no sodium, and then McCormick has a all-purpose seasoning. So we're going to try to get those. Then there's a line of there's about 4 pharmaceutical companies coming on board that's going to help us.
Wow.
And so we working with them, and we're getting it put together, and everybody, and there's a thing about, everybody say, why don't you get them to do the RV? There's a thing about liability, and that's a big liability taken on the hand. So that's why we are going right to the dealers and the owners of RVs, let them be, if they can sponsor it, and we want to do this for 1 year and see where it's going to take off.
Wow.
So all you listeners out there, anyone, if you hear about Chef O's coming to your area, there's a guy named Chef O coming, please come out, contact me, let me do some work with you and talk to you and get you on the right track. I know it's hard to be a dialysis patient, and especially in the urban community, because there's so much we eat that we are so used to, and trying to change that eating habit is going to be hard, but I tell you, it can be done. It can be done with some changes of a few herbs and spices and cooking techniques.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Chef, are you still taking anti-rejection medicine? And if you are,
Yes.
how many pills?
I take it very faithfully. In fact, when I get done with this interview, I'll be taking my nightly dose of the. I take a prednisone, not prednisone. I do take prednisone, but I take 2 anti-rejection medication in the morning and I take 2 at night along with a few other items that I take. But I am very faithful for that. I have my own little pill box. I have my pill bag, and then I have backup plans. So if I know, like if I'm going to go somewhere for a couple of days, I keep extra. But the one thing I do, I have the Walgreens in my computer if there's a Walgreens in an area, because you never know when something's going to happen. I tell you, I was in a hotel one day and some startled me while I was in the bathroom. I hit my pills and knocked a bottle of my pills in the commode. And I'm out of town, and all I did was picked up the phone, called, find out what a local Walgreens, gave my number, and I'm on the internet. I'm on a national list. And they just found my name. Said, "Oh yes, here we can do you so much until you get back to Grand Rapids," and that was it. So yes, I'd still take the medication, and I advise everybody when you do, just be compliant. Be in compliance. Don't miss your treatment. Please don't miss treatment. I have heard people over and over saying I had to miss my treatment because I didn't feel good. How do you not feel good to go and do your treatment?
Right.
So as a past nurse, technician, and worked in the dialysis unit, you've probably seen people do that. And if they do it so many times, you don't have to worry about going back to the dialysis unit because some don't make it.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What would you say for the person who may be watching right now and said that's easier said than done? Meaning, let's say if a person has some issues with, let's just say a person has diarrhea because of something else, and they want to miss treatment so they don't have to keep interrupting their treatment to go to the bathroom, and they may not have any funds to get any like Lamodo or anything, and what would you suggest to them, or people who just don't really feel good, that don't want to just go to treatment because they actually don't feel good?
Okay. If you're having that problem, one, I get with my financial advisor at my unit. And there's financial advisor. If you can't afford something, there's funds set up for everyone from that unit that they can give you a certain amount to help you out. But if you don't feel like, if you haven't had a continued problem, you got to talk to your doctor. That's all I can say. Sure, once in a great while you had that problem, Steve, but if it's a constant thing where you cannot go, I would check with my doctor. And even if you did miss for that day, if it's going to be that one day, see if you can get in the next day to do a part treatment. But I wouldn't go the whole time, miss the whole treatment, and wait till your next treatment date because you may not make it. I advise them to get some help for that day. Say, hey, I'm having this problem. What can I do? I don't want to I can't come to dialysis. I had a problem. Is there any way I can try to get through this today with some help and then come in tomorrow morning? Can you put me in tomorrow morning somehow to run a little while? Just try to talk to your clinic and see. That's all I can say, Steve. That's all I can say. 'Cause I take missing treatment very highly. Even though, like I say, you do get sick sometime, but there's a way you can get around that day and then try to get in the next day.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
Because that's always going to be an if. There's always, I say go to plan B. That's all I can say. Go to plan B. Because plan A, there's always going to be some disruption. You may get a cold overnight, your head is stopped, or you got a headache, you can't make it in there. You got to find some way to talk to the unit and say, I can't even move, doc. I can't even move so-and-so. What can you do for me? What can I do? And go from there.
Right. I'm just going to extend the show for several more minutes, but I just got an interesting comment that I want you to touch on.
Okay.
And I think this is very important. Michelle Latina says she's been doing this 18 years. 3 transplants, all rejected within a week time. Not eligible for another. 41 years old. I'm tired. It's socially acceptable for older people to stop. But because I'm younger, no matter how long I've been doing this, it's taboo. I tried talking to my social worker and doctor. I just get tired, especially with no hope of a transplant now. What should I do?
Okay, first of all, I wish I know a little bit more about your situation, Michelle. You say you had 3 transplants and they won't let you take another one. Why is that? I would like to know if she can write you. I would like to know why you can't get a 4th one. Is there a generic problem you have with your body that rejects so quickly? Is there something that causing you to reject? Because Steve, we never touched on it, but I have a son who 46 years, he's been on dialysis for 19 years. Now he had some medical problem that caused him to be on, and he just finally got okayed in May to go on the transplant list after all this time. And since May, he done had 2 calls for a transplant. Now, for as Michelle concerned, you have to talk to someone. I mean, the social worker, I know you're getting tired, but I know, like I say, I was in Salt Lake City, and there's people there that had 4 transplants.
No, I know. She mentioned that she has heart failure and scar tissue. So it's a medical reason.
Wow, heart scar tissues in the heart.
Well, I'm not sure if it's it's heart failure and scar tissue. Maybe scar tissue from the 3 transplants.
From the 3 transplants. Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Just you being the veteran that you are and somebody in this case, I mean, what could you suggest that she could do so she doesn't feel like it's no hope?
Okay. 1, don't give up, Michelle. That's all I can say. Don't give up. Be strong. I don't know what kind of religious belief you have, but just pray and just continue praying, because every day there's new medical things come about in the medical unit. And like I said, I sat on the board and saw what they were doing, extremity transplant, where they're taking whole arms and transplanting it on people. Whole arm, not an artificial arm, but a whole arm. I went through sessions on that. There's new medical breakthroughs every year, every day they come through, and I always stay on top of it. I get to know my doctor and see what they can do and let them know your concern, that you do not want to give up. You have to keep faith and say, hey, what else can you look at doing? Because there's always something they can do. I mean, it's just the right person haven't talked to you. And asked her where she's from. Where is she from?
Michelle, if you're watching, if you can let us know where you're from, I appreciate it.
Okay, give her, Steve, just have her Facebook me on Facebook, Oliver Hale, Hale.
Okay, I got your email up there, hchefo@aol.com.
Yes. Okay, and that way we can communicate, because I would like to personally take interest in this and see what we can do for her. I mean, because with the boards and the people I know and the doctors, I mean, I'm constantly in touch with top people. I mean, from New York, if it ain't New York, it's Cleveland Clinic. I mean, I can drop a note to one of my friends tomorrow in Cleveland Clinic and ask them about this and see what they say.
Illinois.
See what?
She's from Illinois.
Illinois. Okay, I'm right next door to her. Don't tell I'm in Grand Rapids. I'm only 2 states over from her.
Okay. Oh, she can hear you.
She can hear me. Okay. Tell her to get in touch with me either later on this evening, because you are 1 hour behind me. I still like to talk to you. And let's go from there, and I can get some information for you, and I can make some phone calls and ask why is it, because uh, I know you said scar tissue and heart problem. We're gonna see what we can do for you. Cause I mean, they were prepping me at one time for a heart kidney transplant because my heart was deteriorating. And next thing you know, they had a doctor intervene and say, "Hey, give him this," and my heart went from 12.5% rejection factor back to 54 in almost 3 weeks.
Wow. You talking about the EF, the
Yeah,
Frank?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
So see, there's always someone out there know a little bit more than what some other people, and we see what we can do and what kind of answers I can get.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe exercise and some other intervention could possibly, help. And Monica Lewis Fox weighed in as well.
Hey, Monica.
Yeah, thanks for chiming in, Monica. Definitely. But yeah, Chef, I got you up here at Oliver Hale Facebook. And then you said they can reach out to you at hchefo@aol.com.
Yes, you can do that. Or you can actually, once we become Facebook members, we can messenger through that.
Absolutely. That's wonderful, man. That's wonderful. Well, Chef, we're out of time, but as I always
An
as
hour gone? We've been talking an hour?
yeah, it's
Well, tell
actually
you, bud.
10:07. But let me just close out with this, as I do with all of our guests. Um, for someone who's watching right now, who just started dialysis, who on the transplant list, thinking about getting on the transplant list, by you pretty much being a veteran from 1983, started dialysis, what words of encouragement, hope, or strength can you leave with the audience tonight to for them to keep the faith?
Positive attitude. Positive attitude. That's all I can tell you. You keep the faith by trusting in the man of above, but you got to have a positive attitude. You can't have a, part of my expression, I hope I can say it, attitude. You got to have a positive attitude. Things will come.
Wow, wow. I I mean, you definitely got to have a positive attitude when you're dealing with this disease as
Oh,
well.
you have to. You have to. Your
Right.
life is in other people's hands every day.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Chef, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I just want you and to my little lady who's on bed rest. God bless you and hang in there. Things will get better. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet you and talk to you. And I just want to say hello to everybody across the United States. My transplant friend, especially my dialysis friend. You know, I'm with you. I know what it's like. I've been there and done it. And I just want to keep you guys in my prayer. And just always, you can always get in touch with me by something. And look for me in 2019.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chef. And of course, we will definitely be in touch as we try to collaborate with you to get our kidney disease awareness tour, Urban America Silent Killer Tour, up that way as well. And that's still going on. So we haven't stopped doing that as well. We're just looking for more faith-based organizations to take the step up to the plate for their congregation to get this life-saving information to try to raise awareness of this awful disease. That's right. Donate life.
Donate life, buddy. Take care, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Chef Hale. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
I'll be watching. Good night.
All right. Yes. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Again, please keep my partner Tamika Moore in your thoughts and prayers as she is on bed rest. She's expecting. It should be soon, but she has to remain on bed rest. So that's why you haven't seen her on a weekly broadcast. Tune in for this Sunday for a dynamic show on Sunday morning transplant coffee talk. We're going to have Sandy Nina Salas. I said it right, Sandy. We're going to have her all the way from It's New York City, Spanish Harlem, New York City. It's going to
All
be
right.
it's going to be a great show. We look forward to having her. Again, tune in Sunday morning, Transplant Coffee Talk this Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching. Peace and blessings. God bless. Good night.
Good night.